Subtitles! They're not that complex. Hello, and welcome to a random video series about how I do my subtitle work. I was told once that this is something that might interest people. How subtitles are done and different methods that can be used to get these sorts of things done. So we're gonna do that. All right. So right off the bat, as I said at the beginning, subtitles are really not as complex as people tend to think. Really, all you need to do, you pull open your handy dandy video editor, you grab whatever type tool it has, you come over to the video, and you type in some text. And there you go. That's it. That's subtitles. Okay, but seriously though, I do have a few examples of some subtitles, usual methods that I tend to see going around in different videos. We've got, I have named them myself, the highlight.
This bucket is my companion, my compatriot, and it's mine. My bucket.
I've got you something.
The TikTok.
This bucket is my companion, my compatriot, and it's mine. My bucket.
I've got
My personal version, the Karaoke.
This bucket is my companion, my compatriot, and it's mine. My bucket.
I've got you.
And finally, the caption.
This bucket is my companion, my compatriot, and it's mine. My bucket.
I've
You may recognize some of these styles, they are fairly common. The caption, starting off, is what you typically see in your usual anime, video game, so on and so forth. It's the generic kind of captioning. You get it on YouTube without having to add it yourself, but if you don't like how YouTube's messing it up, because they do, then you can do it yourself here. It's very simple. You just type it in. Premiere has a fun little portion for it right here where you can come in here and say, hey, I want some text right here. You'll click this and it just puts in a new caption right there, and there you go. It's really that simple. Come in here, you can move it around, you can change the font, you can change the color, the size, and everything else. There it is. Fairly simple, fairly straightforward. It does have some limiting factors to it, which we'll get into in a moment. Next, we have the highlight. This is a style that focuses mostly on, 2, 3, maybe up to 5 words at a time, cutting up sentences a bit. Unlike the caption style, which has the full sentence, typically, this has about small portions of the sentence. It kind of narrows it down a little bit. One of the upsides to this and the other two forms is that it allows you to do something like this. You go in here, grab this, zoom in a bit, put over, something kind of like this, and you can grab text here and move that over, make it a bit bigger, rotate it, put it there, and there you go. You can do stuff like that. You cannot do that with the caption style. You can do it with this. Now, other video editors may have different ways of doing their set default, or they might not have a set default. And some video editors, if you are one of the poor souls who uses video editors like the free Windows video editor, that only allows you to put a single caption for an entire video, you can't do subtitles. For most everything else, you should be able to do it in this fact. But this is something you can do with this particular style. But we'll move it back because we don't want this right now. Now, some people, they will style this particular form in a certain way. There is one person in particular by the name of TJ Styles. Does fantastic editing work. I'll link the channel down below. He does videos in a way that is very similar to what I showed before in the highlights. It cuts up the sentence into sections, not too long words, so you can read the sentence fairly quickly. The key factor, one of the key factors with the highlight is it's typically seen in this sort of style. It's got a white fill, it's got a colored stroke, and then a white shadow, stroke, whatever you want to call it, kind of on the outside. Well, I guess it's a fill, stroke, and shadow, but you get the idea. It's kind of got a 3-layered. You don't have to style your subtitles in exactly the same way. You don't have to. You can make them any size you want, any color you want. This doesn't even have to be a thing. It doesn't matter. Do what you think looks good. That's what's important. All right? That is the key factor with this is so long as you got the text, the rest doesn't really matter so long as it's legible. For example, let me just get this back to normal. You don't want to use a font that is harder to read. Let's see. Let's grab us. What's a good one? This one. This one's good. See it like this. See this one? This one is hard to read. No matter how big the size is, it's cursive. Cursive is usually a poor choice with this sort of thing. It's just hard to read, and it doesn't work well with the design. With if you want to add a stroke or anything, it doesn't work well with that because of how thin it is. So, wouldn't recommend using that. Also, wouldn't recommend using colors that don't mesh well. I can't show good examples of this due to me being colorblind, but I'm sure you get the idea. I guess we can do a pretty basic example. Don't do black on black. It's just can't really read that very well. And maybe try to avoid stuff like this. These two colors don't mesh too well. It's too bright, it hurts the eyes. People don't want to be looking at that when they're trying to just read a quick subtitle. So long as it's readable comfortably, go to town. Just go crazy with the design. What really matters is more or less the style of how the words are portrayed. Another example, the TikTok. Let's go back to this. The TikTok focuses on 1 to 2 words at a time. No more than that, and it's usually very large, fills a lot of the screen. And the words will go all over the place. But a good example of that, as we go to another example, I will again link the channel below. Good example is edits done for Monarch. You got 1 to 2 words. Sometimes you get a third word down below to kind of layer them. The words are able to go wherever. They're usually, you kind of mess with them. You do whatever you want with them. It's fun. It's simple. It can get a little complex and messing with the words a little bit, but for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. You get the 1 to 2 to 3 words. If there are words that's a larger word, it's going to fit more of the screen. You can layer them one on top, one on bottom, like that. It's pretty straightforward. There you go. And finally, this is my personal favorite. The one I use most often is the karaoke. I call it the karaoke because the words follow as the person speaks, like this. See? So, what I like about this particular style is you're able to make the words a little smaller because you don't have to make them as... Legibility isn't as important. Let's put it that way. Because as each word pops up on the screen, the person is saying it. So the brain is able to combine the two, fill in the blanks, and it's a lot faster, a lot easier, in my opinion, and I did have a time where I was testing out a couple things, and I was told that this particular style was one that somebody preferred. So, this somebody actually. So this is my personal style. It is a little trickier, as in order to get the one word at a time, there are certain ways you can do that. I won't go into detail on it here. I will probably do a video on that another time. But suffice it to say, it's essentially like it's essentially this. For the style I use a mask path. I'll go into details in another video, but these are basically the general forms of subtitles. It's really not hard to do. It can be exceptionally time consuming though, because you have to listen to each word the person is saying, try to get them typed up right, type it all in, get the style you want, get the spacing you want, and you want the subtitles to be able to merge with your editing. If it zooms in, you need the word to move so it fits the zoom. You want a word to be in a particular spot, you got to move it there. Timing. If you want, going back to the examples from some of the other editors, if you want the words to have a popping effect like it does in TJ's videos, see right here, just has a little zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. So like that. You want that? That will take a little bit extra time. If you want to do fun stuff like in Monarch's videos where you see the words moving around like that, that will also take extra time, so it can be time consuming, but it is not complex. I hope this video has helped in some way, shape, or form. I'm not some sort of, expert in this sort of thing, but I do enjoy it, and hopefully my average Joe knowledge will help you to be able to learn a few things here and there and improve and surpass me. So that's it. That's the end of the video. Bye.